Good morning, everybody. We'll get started. Looks like about 3 minutes. Okay, about 3 minutes. Hey, folks, before we get started, we're trying to see if we have any music out there. I think it's working, but we just want to make sure the audio and everything is working okay before we get going. Okay, so that looks like it's working now. Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, welcome everybody to Stock Analysis Friday. Today, of course, is July 1st, 2022, first day of July. July 4th right around the corner, and I want to wish everybody a happy July 4th weekend. All right, so we're going to cover a lot of stuff today. We're going to start out, I have to cover a few administrational items. Then I'm going to jump in and talk a little bit about the market overall. And then from there, we're going to go to stock picks. And then as a bonus, I thought maybe for the last, 10 minutes or so of the session, we can actually look at intraday charts for day trading, and that will be on the micro. So if you're into day trading the futures, that's something that may interest you at the end of the session. All right, well, let me get going here. One quick comment also, please type in your symbols as caps, okay? So whatever stock or ETF you want me to look up, just type them in caps in the comments area, and it helps me to see those better. All right, let me get going here. And first thing I have to talk about, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there's no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. And we just want to make sure you're aware of the risks involved in trading the financial market. So I think that's very important. And also to make sure you're trading with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. And also to be sure, all right, you check with your financial advisor, accountant, or attorney to make sure what we talk about here is suitable for you, because we don't know your personal situation. And of course, they do. All right, before I go on any further, is the audio still okay? We want to make sure audio is good. You can hear me and all that kind of stuff before we get into the chart. So I'm just going to keep going, but somebody let me know if the audio is good there. All right, now we have several books available as well. And the main book we just came out with is called Money Management for Traders. These are all available at Amazon. And the nice thing about the Money Management for Traders is it is a quick read, but it has all the essentials in it you need to implement money management. And this is really, really important, because we find so many people really lack a good money management strategy in their trading or even in their investing. So that book will solve that problem. It's very inexpensive. I think we got it, around $15 right now on Amazon. It's available as a hard copy, soft copy, Kindle, and also a audiobook. So, whatever format you like, it's available. The book on the far left is A Trader's Money Management System. So this book on the far right takes all the major concepts in that bigger book and puts it into an easy to read format. So it's great for you to get up going quickly. Of course, the book on the left is a very, very comprehensive book. So if you want to learn more and more about money management, that's a great place to go. All right, so those are our books available at Amazon. Check them out, and you can get those at any time. Now, when we take a look at the charts today, we're going to be looking at a variety of tools I created here at traderscoach.com over the past, 22 years we've been in business now. I've been trading the markets for a little over 30 years. And so these are a culmination of what I found worked in the markets the best. And we have charting software that gives us entries and exits. We have scanners that help us find the best stocks, ETFs, or even futures or Forex to trade. And then we have risk control software. Risk control is a vital part of the program. All right. And finally, please like, subscribe, and share. The more people we get here, the better. The more stocks we can look up, the more we'll find some good opportunities. So that is our goal each and every week, is to uncover some that you can go ahead and trade the following week. All right. And I want to thank everybody for attending here. All right. Great to have you here. And now I want to jump in really quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. If you want more information on this, we have a very comprehensive subscription service called the Market Opportunity Report More, where I do a video every Sunday on the overall markets, and then also have some stock picks in that service too. So if you're interested in that, go to our website, go to More, and under subscriptions, and you'll find it in there. All right, so here's what we think is going to unfold. Now, those of you that have been with me for a long time know I have had this type of forecast for about 1.5 years now. And we've been waiting for the market to break, and it looks like it has done so. So in terms of where we are, we think we're in this area over here called A wave. We don't think A wave is quite over yet. We think it has one more low. And then after that particular bottom there, we should see a move off A wave into a bullish B wave. And then B wave will collapse into a very bearish C wave, taking it way down to a target range of around 23,000 to 15,000. So that's about an 8,000 point target range. We think, based off this indicator, which I designed to tell us when there's a high probability of a low price in that red area being exceeded during the next correction, that you got to take warning of that. So it looks like the COVID low created that to go bearish. So on the next final leg down on wave 4, we expect to go below that. So we think we're going to get in the teens, all right, before this is all over. Now, what's interesting is when we start this leg down here, most people, when you get into the target range, are not going to want to have anything to do with stocks. Most of the YouTube gurus, so to speak, out there will be gone. There will be no more money to make marketing or over marketing what you can do in the markets. So basically, wave 4 target zone will be an area where the market should bottom and return and make eventually new highs. But it's going to take a long time because this is a long-term chart where every price bar represents a full week of activity. So you're probably talking a year and a half before we hit the bottom, or maybe a year, and then we have to climb out of the bottom. So you may not see highs again for 3 to 5 years. So this is a biggie, okay? This is going to be a big move down. B wave, which is going to be off the bottom of A wave, which is coming up pretty soon, will be bullish. And it also fools a lot of people into thinking that the correction is over. So be careful when that occurs. Now, if we look at the target for A wave here, this is a daily chart where every price bar represents a full day. We are basically in an A wave now, and here's the wave count inside A wave. Now, when we talk about wave counts, we're talking about Elliott wave. And so we think we reached an Elliott wave 5 here on the actual daily. We've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could have a bottom here if 5 is over, but we kind of don't think 5 is over. We think it's going to go back into the A wave target zone. And the reason I say that is because on the 60-minute chart, where every chart represents an hour, we're going inside wave 5 of A wave. So we got 3, 4, and that we think is going to come down to the bottom eventually of A wave. So this is kind of a point of inflection. You can see we labeled this here, and it's reached the point of inflection. And so we were kind of waiting for a rollover, because when you get to a point of inflection, the market can either take off or sell off. And it looks like it's starting to sell off. So it looks like we're probably going to get one more low. Now, if things change and this bottom does hold, the market rebounds and goes above 33,207.40, then we'll call A wave in. Okay, done. All right. But for right now, that has not been the case. Now, let's switch to live charts for a moment. On my charts here, you're going to see a variety of different charts. You're going to see 3 charts. I've got them. I happen to have them all on the Dow Jones right now. And we have the 60-minute over here. And this represents the short-term look at the Dow. We have the daily chart here, which is the intermediate, and the weekly chart over here, which is the long-term. So those other charts I showed you is basically representation of each one of these charts. So here we are moving down on the weekly, okay? Shorts were initiated back here in February, okay? So that's doing pretty well right now. We've got this target coming down, but notice what happened. It hit that point of inflection, and now it seems to be heading down. And here's the 60-minute chart where we have the 3, the 4, and the 5 on the far left-hand side. So I think the A wave target could be around 29,647 to 28,272. And then after A wave ends, then that will be the beginning of a bullish B wave, which could last quite a while, all right? But it will never exceed, I shouldn't say never, but 99.9%, unless it's an irregular correction that goes above wave 3, it will never exceed the top that we've seen already. So I think one more low. Now, if the market turns around and this bottom holds and goes way above this level here, then we'll say A wave is over. But we don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so that's just a quick and dirty synopsis of the overall market that we're experiencing. Market's down about 100 points right now. Was down 200 before. So usually kind of before a major holiday, the market actually is bullish. So it's kind of will be interesting to see if it turns back to the upside by the end of the day, as 4th of July is right around the corner. All right, now let's get into what we want to look at here. All right, so type in some stocks. I'm going to take a look at a couple here. I'm going to start out with cryptos, and I want to take a look at the ETF, GBTC. And on cryptos, hopefully you're not in it. We don't want you to be in it. The time has come and passed to be in it. If you were in it on trying to get out of this rebound here, all right, that would have been okay, but you gotta be out by now. Do not be staying in this. Do not hold on to this in terms of hoping it'll turn around. It looks to me like it's got more bottoming to go. All right, you may get a little rebound, but for the most part, it's falling out of bed, and you don't want to have anything to do with this right now. We've got a red PTF now over here, so there's no reason to even think about a long position on GBTC. So cryptos for right now are done. Stay away from them, okay, for sure. All right, the next one I want to look at is gold. Let's take a quick look at gold. Now, the interesting thing about gold is usually when the markets are selling off, the metals do better because people tend to go there for safety. But as we can see, that has really not been the case in this particular market. So it's kind of interesting. If we look at the long-term chart here of gold, all right, we've got let me just bring that up here. You got basically a broad-based 3 that occurred back in 2011. You have a 4 here that occurred around 2015. We had 5. We've already hit the target zone once. But with this remaining green and staying above these points here, there's a chance we could go back in, a high probability chance we'll go back into the target. So it's very interesting that people during this particular movement down have not been buying into gold. And I would not buy right now. All right. I think it will be a time to buy, but we got to wait for momentum, which is represented by this indicator we call the owl, to turn green. You don't want to go long when the momentum's bearish. And that's what it's showing on both the 60-minute and the daily and even the weekly. So you kind of want to stay away with that. But we do have green PTFs, so we'll see if they stay green when this thing bottoms, okay? All right, next thing I want to quickly take a look at is silver. And same type of thing for silver. Also been moving down. So the metals have not been doing good. Now, what's very interesting is there are a lot of YouTubers calling to buy silver at $24, $25, and $26. And if you had looked at the technicals, you would have seen that was not quite the right time to do that. And if you did it, you would have been stopped out, which would have been a good thing because it's come down so much since then. So you could actually get a better price at some point, but it's not quite there yet. So I still see some red on the 60-minute. I see red on the daily. And so I see some active triangular pyramid trading points, which basically are looking for certain types of patterns, trending patterns in the market. They represent fractals as well. So for right now, this market is heading down. So stay away from silver at this point. Kind of important. All right. So let's see what you guys want to look at. Anybody have anything out there? I know it's a holiday, so probably not too many are going to be here today as we've had in previous weeks. Let's take a quick look at the ETFs a little bit here. Here's the Schwab ETF on this. And as you can see, this is a real estate investment fund, and it is heading down. Now, what's interesting is that we may be close to a bottom here. So when we get close to a bottom of A wave on the Dow, and that starts to spring up, that may generate some enthusiasm back into the real estate market. So we'll kind of see where that's going with that, okay? All right, so that's kind of where we're at with that. All right, let's see what else we can look here. Oh, let's take a look real quick here at the Nasdaq and see how that's doing, because that has done, of course, that's been a bad time. In fact, the Nasdaq has not had a rough a year as it's had now since the 1970s. So it's been pretty bad, but again, predicted, so to speak. We knew this was going to top. as it's ending a major move up, and it's still moving down here too. So it looks like pretty much all the major indexes are moving, if not all of them. If we look at the S&P, let's try to find that one here. Okay, the S&P here is coming down as well. No surprise there. That's going to be pretty similar to the Dow. And the other thing too, you might want to think about is you have inverse ETFs that you could take advantage of. So when these particular markets sell off, notice on the long-term charts and even the short-term charts, we had some signals very early on. Okay, when this thing started to actually, when the markets went down in the beginning of the year, this generated a buy signal in the inverse ETF. So we saw that on the SQQQs, which is the inverse for the Nasdaq, and we also saw it on the DOGs, the DOG, which is the inverse of the Dow Jones. So these have all been trades you could take to the long side. Notice the weekly chart still got you long. So as the market sells off, you can buy these and take advantage of the sell-off. A lot of people do these in their IRAs and things like that, where they're not allowed to short markets. So that's kind of important there. All right. So it looks like we got kind of a quiet bunch here. So let's move over. We'll go ahead and probably call this a short day today, but let's move over and take a look real quickly at some of the short time frames for the futures market. And we'll start out with the MES. And here we'll remove this tool here. And we'll see if there's any opportunity on this. So this has been moving off its bottom here. And so this has been a fairly interesting trade here. We've got a couple things going on with this. I don't think I would jump in and go long right now. I think we're probably at a point of inflection. This is a 1 minute time frame. This is a 15-second. This is a 5 minute. So this is a day trading time frame here. And so at this particular point, looks like we're probably heading down, and we're probably pretty much right at the inflection point. So let's take a look at that and kind of see where we're at. I'm going to put that at right around here to here. And notice we hit that inflection point pretty well. So I think probably we could see some selling. I would think maybe possible a short trade here at some point, but we've got to have this turning red before we do that on both of these time frames. So we'll kind of see where, it could pop up and make another high before it moves down, but we'll see how that works out. All right. Okay, a couple here. We got a couple coming in here. And first one is MSOS. And Al, this one's for you. And I'm glad you're short. That's hopefully you've been short for quite some time. I don't think I would get out of it, Al. All right. Why do I say that? All right. So we got a red PTF here, red here, red owl, red. Okay. What a beautiful short position that was. Now, you are starting to see bullish divergence on the short-term time frame. So you're seeing that here. You're seeing that here. Because this is still red, here's how I would play this. If this PTF turns yellow, and it will do so if it makes another low, I would scale out of a third of your positions. When this turns yellow, I would scale out of another third. And then I'd have your stop on the most recent pyramid, which would have been up here at this point. So that's how I would play that. I would, because I think we're getting close to a bottom. We've got some more downside, but you could get a retracement here to 25 or even 30 very easily. All right. And it will be fueled by a lot of the shorts covering as well. So you got to be a little nimble here. Hopefully you've been in this a while, so you've made some good money on this. But for right now, I wouldn't tell anybody to enter this to the short side now. But you may have an opportunity if it retraces, but that's going to be a while from now. But so just be nimble on that one, okay? Stuart, ZM, let's see what we got for you here, Stuart. And let that load. All right, so Stuart, what are you doing with this? Are you long, considering a long? Are you short? What are you doing on this one? So on this one here, I would not have gone long on this. I mean, you had the entries here, but the problem is now is you got a red here. So you're probably going to pull back a little bit. So if you're already long, you could have gone long in this leg, but not here. All right. So the idea here is if you're long, you have to keep that stop. When you get in early, you got to keep that stop low. All right. Because this will be the first move up. And then you can have a pullback almost all the way to where it began before it takes off. So you got to be careful here. This being red indicates that this low here, all right, has a high probability of not being a final low. So you're probably going to move down again. That doesn't mean the bottom won't hold. It just means we're going below this little low area here. So if you haven't gone long on this yet, wait, okay? If you haven't covered your short yet, wait. You should have, but if you haven't, you can wait on that a little bit. You'll probably get a better price on both aspects. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. All right, let's see what we got here. WM, Waste Management. Let's take a look at that for you, Al. All right, so had a big move up. I mean, you can look at the charts, see where it started here. And then so I kind of, at this point here, would not go long. All right, if anything, looking for a short position. I think it's probably topping, very similar to the Dow. All right, so I think this is going to hold. I think you've got red here. So this has got a likelihood of being penetrated here. And you want to put your stop way up here at this point, because you're still kind of moving up here. So I would kind of hold off on a short position until this turns red. And this is okay. But if this goes green, again, you have to hold off because it's still moving to the upside. All right, so let's see how far it goes to the upside. I don't think it'll take out the high. Of course, you know, we never know for sure. That's why you don't want to jump the gun until the momentum reverses back to the downside again. And we have bullish price bars coming all the way up here. And you can see that reflected on this little move here. So based on this, it's basically saying at this time, this is a breath or a quick retracement in a downward move. So that should give way to more downward pressure, but you can kind of be a little smart on this. I know you have our software out, so you can kind of take a look and see when things get bearish on the 60-minute, and then be sure they're still bearish on the daily chart, okay, as well. All right. Cool. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let's go back and take a quick look at these day trading time frames here. Okay, so now, you know, we got up to this area here. So now we're seeing some bearishness come in. Got to wait for this to go red to initiate a short trade. So you could certainly initiate this at some point. Looks to me like probably you've got a 75% probability will eventually go below here based on this indicator, because that's the accuracy rate of that. And if we do a fib extension down here, all right, that's going to be roughly here, here to here. Then that's fitting right into that target zone. So probably going to head on down there. And so maybe a short trade coming up here pretty soon. Okay. All right, let's take a look at McDonald's, MCD. Go back to our position time frames, which is the 60 daily and the weekly. And McDonald's is kind of a messy market right now. Again, like basically all the major stocks out there, is, you know, topping at this point. And what's interesting about McDonald's is that it sold off quite a bit, and then it rebounded, and now it's kind of stuck in this range right here. So this is red and this is red. That does not bode well for a bullish trade at this time. So if anything, maybe a short trade. And again, I think the idea here is that you wait for a bearish owl here before considering any type of short trade. And even then, you kind of want to see prices roll over a little while. So we got to wait for red here on the owl, red here, and we've got the pyramids. So we're in good shape. So just wait for this to roll over a little bit. All right. So that's kind of what we're looking at on that bad boy. All right. Oh, good. Yeah, oil. Let's take a look at oil for James here. USO. Let's take a quick look at that one. All right. So oil obviously been running up. Okay. If you're long, I think you can hold this. It doesn't mean we're not going to get a pullback at some point. I mean, it's been a pretty dramatic rise here. It's due for a pullback. We have a green PTF here. So I think basically it looks like it's going to at least maybe go above here short term. But that does not mean it's going to make a new high right away. So we got to kind of be nimble here. You've had, look at how many pyramids you've had in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the weekly chart. So when you get to 4 pyramids, you're kind of ripe for a correction. I think oil is going to continue to go up, but I think we may get a correction first before it does. And we may be starting to see it kind of break a little bit now because we have a red owl here. So we may head back up, go above this high to satisfy the green over here, and then have it roll back over if this high is not penetrated on the next move up. So I kind of think it's absolutely more risky to initiate a long position on oil right now. Personally, I would wait for the pullback and then take a long position at that point. So I don't think oil is done going up, but I do think this move we've had since last year is probably getting ready to kind of correct a little bit. And we have no idea what causes these corrections, but who knows what it could be. Okay. All right. So that's USO. UNG is the next one. And James, these are all for you. All right. So we've had, this is kind of interesting. So you see what I'm saying? When you have a big move up, it's not uncommon to get a big move down as a breath in the market. So this is a pretty high owl here. And let's just see where this thing is lying here. So I got to take a look at the overall picture on this a little bit more in depth to kind of get a feel. Okay, there's the feel. All right. So basically, it's due for a move to the upside. When you get in early, you know, you got to keep these stops at the bottom, wait for that first pullback, and then move your stop under that pullback and leave it there. So that bottom, if this is an uptrend, this stop here will hold. If that's taken out, you want to leave. Okay, because the analysis is not correct for an uptrend at this point. So if you're thinking about getting into this, don't yet. Okay, this is all red over here and this is red, so it's still coming down. It hasn't finished this pullback, so you kind of want to hold off. If you're long, stop right here. Okay, which would be right around under here. So it could pull back here and then take off, something like that. Okay, so that's kind of where I would go with that. UGA is the next one. All right, so there's UGA. This is one here that had a big move up, and now it looks like it may be topping a little bit. We've kind of got some support levels here on the daily chart. This pyramid was taken out, so any long position that you had on the way up here, you just got out here. Great trade, by the way, to the long side. So now you're out, okay? So this looks like at this particular point, probably, I don't think we had enough of a correction in here for a wave 4. So I think this is still 3. I think we're probably going into an ABC, and then we're going to go back up. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. We got bearishness here, bearishness here. Still a very solid, wave 3 owl over here with green. So, you know, you may get one more high on this before it sells off into a major wave 4. So I kind of think this support level here, as marked by the pyramid, is really important. So if it drops below that, I kind of think at that point there, that pretty much confirms a more significant wave 5. Now, wave 4 rather. Now, if it goes into a wave 4, we're probably talking about a correction down to 56 to 41 on this. So I think it's more risky to go long here, honestly, than anything else. And I think you should be out of the market if you were long on that. All right, DBA, our next one. All right, so DBA is definitely pulling back. I would say this is going into its wave 4 at this time. A little premature to say that, but this is really bearish. This is almost red. This has to be red for a major wave 4. So I think I'm going to make a call here. We took out all the support areas here, that we are in a major correction here. And I think for this particular retracement, we're probably talking somewhere around $19.41 to $17 on this before it's all over. Okay. And then I think the problem is that, you know, it could stay, it could take quite a while to get there, and then even a little longer to rebound. Okay. So you got to be careful on that one. And that is DBA, but you want DBC. Now DBC. Okay. One more. DBC. All right. Let's take a look at that one. And DBC, very similar situation. Now, here's the thing with DBC. All right, it is pulled down. It's taken out all the key levels of support. This is green. This is still pretty powerful. This can remain green during the entire correction because it will be proved correct on wave 5. All right. Now, again, this, you know, this, you should have been long in this a long time ago. I think to go in long now is kind of a little risky, especially since we could be aligning ourselves to go into a big correction here. We have certainly taken out some of the major supports on the daily chart, and we've got a lot of red on the 60-minute. So the only thing that you have in your favor here is the green PTF on the daily chart, but you have to be careful with those because they can remain green the entire time during wave 4. Okay, so you got to be careful with that. Yeah, and also too, you have a very strong owl. So on the weekly chart. So I don't know if I would go short here right now with a green PTF. I kind of may wait for this thing to correct and then go long. Okay, that's kind of how I might play that. All right, let's take a look at coin here. Al, I think this one's for you. All right, like all the others, heading down. Okay, Al, it's too late to go short. Okay, you missed the opportunity. It's going to go a little lower, but you're going to be playing Russian roulette to really figure out how much lower. This is looking like a wave 3 here. So actually, maybe we can use this. Yeah, it looks to me like probably we're going to go down under here. Okay, so I don't think the bottom's in yet, but I don't think you have much distance beyond the bottom as well. So I think a short trade earlier would have been good. Right now, you've had so many pyramids in a row on the daily, and you have the owl almost going green here. So maybe a thing to do is possibly think about a retracement trade up to maybe quite a bit. Let's just for fun put the numbers in here and see what a retracement trade would be. I mean, look at that. We're at 48.50, and so you know you're talking in the hundreds, and if it gets the upper extreme, 200. But I don't see that happening yet because again, this is pretty strong. This is bearish. I don't see a long trade here, and I don't see a short trade yet. And because of the difficulty in this being so large, excuse me, I would probably wait for this to get up here and then look for the short trade. And if I go long here to this little area here, make sure you have your stop wherever you think the bottom is. Okay, so that's kind of how I play that. All right, let's keep moving on. UGA, that's Jeannie saying that's a good trade. CPER, let's take a look at that one, James, for you. All right, so here we are on this one here. And I don't know what you're doing, whether you're long or short on this one. If you're short, go ahead and stay short because you've got red PTFs on both the lower time frames. If you are not short and considering short, do not do it yet. We're starting to see bullish divergence in the 60-minute chart. So I would probably think maybe we'll get a retracement off this soon. And then if you want to take the short position down on the final leg, you can do that. But I would not go short right now because I think we're close to a bottom. What the pyramids do, Zeke is asking, how does the base of a pyramid differ from the typical support and why is it more important? It's a great question. The pyramid base legs are based off support levels in the market. So, support levels are going to be rebounds in a downtrend, or in a uptrend, they're going to be the pullbacks. And so what it's doing is it's looking at the pattern that formed that particular fractal in the market, or also known as a 1, 2, 3 trend trading pattern. And then it takes a look at the momentum that went into the formation of that pattern. And that's a calculation it is doing behind the scenes. And it's looking for high probability patterns. And so when they form, they tend to form at key levels of support and resistance. All right, so let's keep going. Key, how you doing? All right, CRSP. Let's see what we got cooking there. Hey, better late than ever, Keith. No worries there. All right, so now I don't know what you're doing with this one. You probably are considering a long position on this. Had a nice rebound. This is actually a pretty good one. The only thing I would say here is on this one, you might want to wait for the owl on the 60-minute to turn green. All right, you've got a pyramid entry here. You're stuck a little bit in the channel. May move down a little bit, but I think probably we've got a bottom in here. So this is kind of this is the one I like the best today. And this is CRSP. And I think because you've got a pyramid here, you've got green here, you could probably go ahead and enter early, provided you put your stop at the bottom. Okay. Don't use the pyramids on the first leg up because they are designed to only trade swings. All right. So they're going to take you out of the swing. If you're trying to get into a more of a serious trend in terms of a correction, then you want to put that stop under the major Elliott waves. And then when you're in wave 3, use the pyramids or wave 5. So in this case here, you could go long on this, but you want to put your stop here. Okay, so I do like that one the best today. If you want to be a little more cautious, wait for that 60-minute chart to have a green owl. All right, that's CRSP. Let's take a look at calm before the storm. Give that a second to load. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is one we looked at before, and we kind of liked it because it was in the target range, and now it's boosted up. So here's what I like about this. Green PTF. Now we have a wave 5 owl forming. Wave 4 must have a red owl. So that met the requirements. And also, here's what we've talked about connecting the dots. So this was a dot connected. This is pulling out a wave 4. So the momentum has changed, reached the target zone, took out the bearish pyramid there. So that's a good thing. If we go over here, got a little bit of a red owl. So again, like the other stock, like CRSP, all right, you might want to wait for that to turn green, but you do have a green PTF here and you have green here. So I'm liking this a lot. Let's go over here and see what I got marked over here. This is just more of the retracement. So the next thing to look at here is, where is the target? Well, right here, let me just move this up a little bit higher. There you go. So right here, the PTF is indicating a target right at the top. So if this is 3, this is 4, the PTF says we're going higher than 3. Let's draw some fib extensions in and see where the possibility of that wave 5 could be. And it's pretty much starting at the PTF high and going up a little higher to around 69.76. So again, this one I like, but you got to put your stop at the very bottom. And you've got, I think, enough risk to reward there to get you in the target zone. So I think this is pretty good. All right, so CALM. And this is key again. Okay, looking good, key. Okay. Great. All right. I also like CRS. Was it B or did I use P or B? P. It's CRSP. Okay, CRSP. All right. So I like those, CRSP and CALM. All right, let's move on here. James has got another one, IYT. All right, so let that load here. Okay, so moving down, momentum is still down. You can tell by the fact of all the pyramids on the daily chart, along with the red owl. We've got yellow PTFs in the lower time frames, but we have a red owl there. I think probably what we may have here is a situation where, if I grab the extensions, we're probably looking at a bottom here of around 201 to 189, 201 to 189. And then after that, if we get a turnaround momentum, we might have a long trade on that, but not yet, okay? Not quite yet. All right, TLT, the bonds. Let's take a look at the Treasury here. Okay, so there they are heading down. We're starting to see bullish divergence here. And we see some bullishness on the 60-minute chart, but still a really deep owl on the weekly chart. But I also, let me just open the weekly chart up real quick here. So what I like about this, though, it has a significant retracement, all right, with a clear ABC pattern, which could turn into one more leg down. Let's take a look here. You have bullish divergence on the daily chart. You're starting to see a move up here. All right, so here's the thing with this. Let's just see what we've got cooking here. All right, so I would say if this turns green and you wanted to take the trade, you certainly could do that, provided you don't have any red on the 60-minute chart. So I think it's due for a correction or possibly a new trend to the upside. So if you want to get in early, you might have a chance to do that if we see more bullishness coming into TLT, okay? It's not one I would do now, though. All right, BTU. All right, so BTU here. And James, I have no idea if you're in any of these or what. If you're in them or thinking about them, let me know, because that, of course, will lead me to actually be very specific on some of the things you're looking at here. Okay, so on this one here, again, big move up. We don't have a, yeah, that's a pretty interesting one. So again, you know, we've taken out some key levels of support. I don't think we're quite done yet. So I don't think you've hit the target yet for a retracement here on this one. So if we draw it roughly from here to here, it looks like you might have. All right, so that's actually good. I'd like to see actually, if this is an A and this is a B, I'd like to see C come down a little further. All right. Now, you got to watch the owl on the weekly chart, because if that goes red, all right, then that's an indication that we may be sliding down into another significant move to the downside. So what I'm hoping for is, if this is a correction to the upside, that we have one more high you could take advantage of. It's not my favorite though, okay? I don't think I'd waste my time on it. All right, let's quickly go over and see if the MES is, what's that's doing. So now I'm back on day trading time frames. This is a 1 minute here. This is a 15-second and a 5-minute. Those of you that don't day trade would look at this and shake your head and go, this is nuts. But not really. No, this is exactly the time frames we day trade with. And you see the same patterns here that you see on the longer time frames. So it's kind of in an area here where we're thinking that maybe it'll sell off and go into this target range here, which makes sense with the PTF. So maybe a 3, a 4 top, and a 5. All right. We don't want to go short until we get a red owl, because we may get one more high up here. Same thing with this. So when we day trade, we're really, really conscious of the timing, because it's really important. So on here too, you know, this is bullish. So basically this is, you know, once you get into this area, you want to cover, because that's going to be usually the end of maybe another big move up. So this could be a bottom over here. But what we're saying is we're going down below here. On a 1 minute time frame, you can make money on that. So that's kind of the way that's looking there. And then you want to put your stop at the very, very top of what we think is wave 4. So if this generates a short position, you go short. If you're stopped out, you want to get stopped out, because that means your analysis is wrong. So that's where your stop wants to be. Don't have your stop so close. We have a red owl here, so that requirement's met. No green down here, that's fine. This pyramid was stopped out, that's fine. This is close to going red here. We're going against a fairly significant situation here. So we got to be heads up about that. What we would do is get the trade size calculator out, set it up for the MES. So it's a 5-point move on the MES. You put that in the calculator plus your account size. When this goes red, you can put your entry price in, the stops up here, and get the correct trade size. So if it ends up at a loss, you'll risk no more than the percentage you put in the calculator. Here we come. Okay, it's starting to come down a little bit here. And if you like this kind of stuff, this is exactly what we do in the day trading room. Okay, exactly. So this pyramid, this blue pyramid here, will turn red if prices get below here. Okay, so let's see. We'll see what happens with that. Very close to going red on the owl. Now, a couple things. If we didn't have the red PTF, but this goes red, you can take a scalp trade. We got an MP here. You could go short right now on this. Boom. Okay. And this would be your target here. Nice risk to reward. Okay. There's your risk. Double to the target. Nice trade on the 1 minute time frame. And this is a live market. This is exactly how we do it. Kind of cool, huh? All right, let's go back and take one more look here at, Kevin wants to take a look at KBH. Let's see what's cooking. Hi, Kevin. How you doing? All right, KBH for Kevin. All right, so here we got, all right, so Kevin, I don't know if you're, okay, you're short, good. All right, thank you for telling me. All right, so short's good. You want to hold that short position. All right, have some breathing in the market. We've got one coming on now. You can see the 60-minute chart is showing green owl, so we're still kind of moving up. But, we're right at an inflection point between here and here. So let's just take a quick look at that and see. So you're right in the target zone for a 4. So if this is a 3, 4, 5, and what we want to do is make sure 4 is over. So you want to make sure this turns red here and then go short. Okay, if you want to take it down one more time. Otherwise, if you're looking at a more longer term trade, I would hold off and wait for this to bottom and then go long. Okay, so short for a very quickie, long for another one. Let's go back to our MES. And now this is coming down nicely. Okay. All right, we don't know if we're going to make any money on this yet. Okay, things can always happen, but we're going in the right direction, right? All right, let's see. James is asking, how do the Miramar locals, which is us, like Top Gun Maverick? I thought it was pretty good. I actually like the first one better, but that's just me. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so anyway, you know, when you go into a position like this, as long as your stop is in place and you're going in the direction of the momentum, that's all you can do. Okay. When we hit that target zone and this turns yellow, if it does, then we'll go ahead and scale out of a half a position. And then we will go ahead and either, if new pyramids form or not, once we're in the target zone, we'll trail that stop right under each price bar, because we expect a reversal to the upside at some point. All right, well, we're going on an hour. I think that's probably it today. We covered a little bit of day trading on the micros. Any questions out there? I want to thank everybody for coming, especially on a holiday weekend. I want to wish everybody a really, really great July 4th and a safe one. And I think the winners today are CRSP and CALM, right? COM. So CRSP and CALM. Those seem to be the good ones. Now we're going to have a recording, of course, of this posted as well. Okay. So you can review the recording at any time. And as Gene said, yes, CRSP and COM are the winners today. Great. I think they are from Key. Good job, Key. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming today. And we'll see you back here next Friday. All right. Have a good 4th and take care. So folks, on this trade here, this is a 1 minute time frame in the center, 15 on the left, and a 5 minute. Just don't move your stop, okay? Keep your stop high, wait for the first major pullback before considering a stop. You'll get it, but for right now, you just want to stay short. You got the odds in your favor. So try not to move your stop too quickly here, okay? Just stay with the trade. And don't forget, when you enter a trade like this, you are always using risk control. So your trade size, also known as your position size, is carefully calculated. So even if the trade gets stopped out, you're not losing your shirt. You're losing an amount you can afford to lose based on your win ratio and your payoff ratio. And that's, of course, using the risk of ruin tables as well. So there's really nothing to fear but fear itself on this trade if you use risk control. So that should make you feel a little more comfortable to try to stay with it and keep your stop at good levels based on what the market is telling you and not what your emotions are telling you. So in other words, don't freak out of the position. All right, so we're going to close out here pretty soon. Again, I want to wish everybody a great July 4th. Thanks for being here, and we will see you back here next week.